welcome back to Shemsuniverse. So today, guys, we're going to discuss the destiny, or I should say life path, or Fadic number 8. So this is the dark path number, guys. I did a short on this earlier in the week. This is definitely a very interesting number. It's one of the most highly revered, highly feared numbers for sure. I am a life path 8 myself, so I can highly relate with a lot of things that are going to be discussed today. But let's just get right into this. With the life path 8, it's considered to be this whole money number. Money is associated with the 8 because you have to acquire power. When numerology was actually created, especially in the Chaldean times, money wasn't even a thing as of yet. So what you have to understand is the 8 is all about acquiring power and how power dynamics and karma works. These things go hand in hand. Karma is power and power is karma. So cause and effect. How you behave, what you do, what you think, what you say, all of these things are going to correlate into a different future. There's infinite futures that you have at your capacity. It depends on what you actually manifest, meaning what you're thinking, what you're saying, and then what you're doing. These are the things that really matter and what's going to actually affect whether or not you're successful in life or not. In Chaldean numerology, there's considered karmic rewards and karmic penalty numbers. The compounds of number 8 are for the most part karmic penalties minus the 17, which we'll discuss today. And they really exemplify what exactly the 8 means and then why it's prevalent, why it's there, and why you're going through this darkness. So with the 8 is considered to be a disciplined number, high mental fortitude, a lot of persistence. In this basic day and age now, a lot of 8s are very, very successful, of course, because they learn how to acquire power. And they learn this through going through the darkness, meaning they get more organized, they get more disciplined, they get stronger as they age. The reason being is because you have to go through these obstacles to make yourself more powerful. It's like lifting weights. You feel the burn from the weight when you're lifting it, and you know that this is helping you grow your muscles, and you eat and you discipline yourself and you keep putting yourself through that pain. If you're a life path 8 and you're listening to this video, you need to look at your life like the bench press, like the same exact thing I just discussed. You need to lift weights every day. You need to understand all these obstacles that you're having. It doesn't mean that you have bad luck. It means that you're meant to do more with your life. It means that you're meant to be very, very powerful. And the 8 is going to force you to become powerful by putting negative situations on you. The twist to that, the paradigm, is that you're doing it to yourself and you don't realize it yet. Because your thoughts, words, and actions are making a given destiny. You are manifesting every single day and every single moment. So as soon as you understand that and you actually flip the switch and start saying, I can control my reality, the 8 all of a sudden is not so scary, but it's actually on your side because Saturn is going to respect you. Saturn is going to actually look at it and say, okay, this person is doing what's justifiable. They're actually doing their thoughts, words, and deeds are aligning with a given purpose, and now they're going to in turn get what they want. Saturn can be very much bad luck, but it's a planet of justice and restriction. It'll give you justice if you do good deeds, if you do things that are actually meant for your purpose. If you're not, and you're just saying you want one thing and then you're thinking and doing other things, then of course it's just not going to work out. That's just as basic as human nature gets. But let's get right into the compound numbers. They're very, very similar, so this video will not take too long. The 17 over 8 is believed by the Persians to be the lucky star. It's the karmic reward. These guys that have 17 over 8 were in other reincarnations as very courageous people, and they've attained a lot of high wisdom throughout their other lifetimes. So they bring these skills in their subconscious to this lifetime as well. So a lot of 17 over 8s become very, very famous. They do leave behind a legacy. They're remembered after their death, and they always have like an amplified attention on them. Whether they like the attention or not, the spotlight will always be there. I can say the same thing for myself. I do have this karmic reward number for my life path, and I definitely could say my whole life, everything that I've done has always brought me extra attention. And at times I'm like, cool, but a lot of times I'm just like, I don't really want it. But it's definitely there. You have to understand that this is considered to be a high IQ number. You can be very, very good when it comes to professions with academia. You could do anything under the sun, from like doing athletics to media, pretty much anything. This is really like, because the 8 is an infinite number, it makes you infinitely good at pretty much any sort of career that you want to get into. The most popular careers for 8s are usually in like sports, the military. I mean, highly prestigious jobs with high status that are going to pay you a lot of money. So things like advertising executives, CEOs, all of those things are definitely in the capacity of the 8. But like I said, it does not really matter as long as you're going for what you want and staying humble. having the 17/8 there will really help you get to the top in your career, and it will also help you get very, very famous and remembered even after your death. If you have unbalanced numbers in your chart, meaning your birth number and your name number do not necessarily agree with it, that sometimes makes you become very famous or infamous for being a criminal. A lot of 17/8s, as much as they could be good people, they can also be very, very bad. They end up actually becoming very good in the crime world, and this can also work out for them. If your thoughts, words, and deeds are going towards a negative polarity, don't think that I'm saying, oh, you have to be a good person to be successful. You don't. You could be a very bad person, but as long as your thoughts, words, and deeds are aligning with what you're saying you're going to do, it's going to still work out for you to a certain extent. Karma will intervene at some point, but a lot of people that have this life path also get into crime, get into different things like that, and they become very, very proficient at it, and they become known for it. A lot of mafia bosses have this life path number as well. So understand that the opportunities and the options for you are very limitless. I'm not telling you guys to go out there and do crime or anything like that. I'm just giving you guys the facts based on the Chaldean tablets, what you're capable of. Another great option for 8s as well that I just personally would recommend is anything to do with law and order, such as being a lawyer, police officer, judge, all those things, because the 8 deals with darkness, deals with negative energy, deals with that sort of criminal behavior. You might as well make money off of it, in my opinion. The next one is considered a karmic sort of debt. It's a bit of a hindrance. It's the 26/8 life path. These guys do, they get more lucky in the 17/8, which is, it's kind of hard to believe because they actually have like a karmic debt to pay off. They being punished for being too cynical or too materialistic in a prior lifetime. But even though they've had that prior lifetime where they've done a lot of sin, they can actually win and become very, very famous very quickly in this lifetime. And the 8 does this to them to make them get really high up to the top, to then just plummet them right back down very, very hard. And it to the point where they're going to have a hard time overcoming whatever it is that happened. This is meant so that they can actually feel and understand what it's like to be humiliated, to have everything and then lose it, and then understand how materialism really works. This is the whole idea of that karmic debt. So a lot of the times different numerologists will say, oh, 8s have a lot of ups and downs. It's like, yes, that's right to a certain extent, but some 8s have a lot of ups and downs. It depends on your karma, it depends on what you're actually doing in this lifetime, and it greatly depends on the compound number that adds up to that specific 8. If you're just an 8 by itself, you're not going to have that extreme of effects. You can just become somebody who's very proficient at making money, you get your organization, your discipline very good, and then you just get ahead in life. If you're a 17/8, as long as you're actually following what your passion is, being patient and being humble, you're going to get very famous and very successful in life. When the 26/8 is there, you might not actually have to do that sort of background work at first. You're the types who actually get famous and get rich from a younger age, like this 18-year-old that goes viral on YouTube, or the 23-year-old that goes viral on TikTok nowadays. That person can very well be a 26/8 that's going to suffer in the future because they have that life path, but they don't realize it yet. So if you do have that, be very, very careful. If you're saying, well, I'm not successful yet, okay, good. All you have to do is just make sure that your karma is good in this lifetime. Understand the universe might throw obstacles in your way due to things that you've done in the past that you don't remember, but accept those things. And if it gets really, really bad, you can also look into getting a name change. When it comes to the life path 8, it's best to have in Chaldean numerology a name number of 5 or a name number of 6. 5 is even better because it helps prevent from accidents of those sorts. All right. The next one is the 35/8. 35/8 is very, very similar to the 26. The only thing is that they're more career and business oriented. They do tend to have a lot of big career collapses. A number one example for the 35/8 would be like a Julius Caesar, who of course had a very fatal ending to his lifetime, but he was very, very successful. The reason for this is because the 3 gives these guys the expansion, the really robust personality, the ability to control people with what they say. The 5 gives them that fearlessness, that daredevil attitude. So when they go into the darkness of the 8, they kind of have this fearless attitude towards it where they just run through all their opposition, all their obstacles. They can still meet a fatal end if karma and the universe wants it that way, but understand that these people can be very successful and you should never count them out when you see them get brought down. They can come back just as quick. The last one is the 44/8. It's literally the 26/8 on steroids. The 44, they are very special because they're of course considered in Chaldean numerology, they're still a master number. And the 2 4s make them very, very organized, very disciplined, very meticulous. And as a result, they end up achieving grand success. These are the type of people that become billionaires. These are the type of people that can build empires that you couldn't even think could be built. They can do the unimaginable, and they have the confidence and the mental fortitude to get it done. Their special ability as a 44 is the ability to run through chaos. The 2 4s, instead of making your life chaotic, it makes you very impervious, or just like you have a very impenetrable mind. Chaos going on all around you, you can still just have that silence in your mind and just see right through things. You guys' main karmic lesson, if you're a 44 over 8, is more so to understand to stop and smell the roses. You guys are such achievers, but you need to learn to actually appreciate the things that you have in life and not be overly materialistic, because the 4 is all about security and making sure you get all your material ends just brought to you. And then the 8, of course, is all about having that grand structure, building a huge empire that's known for generation to generation. It's all about that generational wealth that everybody's talking about now. So when you have the 4 and the 8 working together like this, I would definitely recommend, of course, having a name number of 5 or 6, and hopefully your birth number is compatible with the 8. But just be very, very careful in regards to just being a workaholic. A lot of you guys will actually suffer from like ADHD and so forth, just because your attention is like so amplified that they're going to consider it a mental illness, but it's really just a superpower. You guys need things a specific way. You guys are very tedious. Use that to your advantage. A lot of people that are big time lawyers, CEOs, not so much in the sports world for the 44s, but I'd recommend things like accounting, stockbrokers, anything that's a high level of stress, surgeons. You guys can handle it. Where you guys can see chaos, you can provide order. That is your superpower. That's where you influence the most. Go into the darkness, and you guys are very much able to adapt in the darkness and just overcome it. That's almost all 8s, but the 44 is able to stay the calmest during these situations. All right. So that does finalize my video on the 8, guys. I hope this does help you guys. I'm seeing it from the Chaldean perspective. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, just please let me know in the comments. Aside from that, like, subscribe. That's it for today, guys. Peace.